Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josie. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josie, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest that will be sharing one of their past projects. We will let you decide if it was good or bad or just plain ugly. But before we begin, here's today's badassery bestowment, my little badass gift to you. Today's topic is the importance of using accurate comps to determine the after repair value. When assessing the after repair value, or ARV, of a property, using accurate and relevant comparables is crucial. Comps are recently sold properties similar in location, size, condition, and features to the property you're evaluating. Here are 4 reasons why using the correct comps is essential. Number 1, precision in valuation. Correct comps ensure your ARV is realistic and reflective of the current market. This precision helps you avoid overestimating or underestimating a property's potential value, which can significantly impact your investment's profitability. Number 2, informed decision-making. Accurate comps provide a solid foundation for making informed decisions about purchase price, renovation budget, and potential resale value. This helps in crafting a feasible investment strategy. Number 3, risk mitigation. Using incorrect or outdated comps can lead to financial losses. Overpaying for a property based on an inflated ARV can reduce your profit margin. Number 4, credibility with lenders and partners. Demonstrating a well-researched ARV with accurate comps builds credibility with lenders and investment partners. It shows that you have done your due diligence and are making data-driven decisions, which can facilitate securing financing and attracting investment partners. So, take the time to research and select the most relevant comps to ensure a realistic and profitable ARV estimate. Now, on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. We have with us my work husband, Bud Evans. Bud served as a military officer with the U.S. Air Force and has been called to service over 10 times. He retired after 35 years of service in 2022. He's an investor, licensed agent, property manager, and coach. Bud currently operates in New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania with single-family and multifamily homes. Bud is the president of Aim High Properties and operates 8 subordinate companies ranging from property management to hair salons. It's always a good time when I can get him on the show, so welcome, Bud! Thanks for being here today.
Oh, it's always good to, you know what, I get to hang out with you for a little while. It's always a good day.
Always a good day. And it's not like we go a day without talking anyway. So You've
already spoken like 16 times today already.
That is the truth. And last night was a zinger too, but we won't be bringing that up. But anyway, you are just a dear, dear friend to me. And I look up to you on so many different aspects, especially on the multifamily side. But I am having you on the show today to talk about a special project, one that's very near and dear to your heart, I know. But before we get into that, how did you get involved with real estate?
Well, funny you should ask. I always thought about it. You know how that goes. Everybody wants to jump in, but they never actually take the leap. And here I was in 2014, I had moved to New Jersey, decided to get involved with the local township committee and do some good, always trying to make the place better than when I left it. Someone said, you should run for committee. I kind of got into an argument, didn't really have a great rapport with a couple of guys on committee. So I ran and became the mayor. Well, here I am in 20, that's, it's me. So in 2018, I become the mayor and I'm like doing all this stuff and get involved in, 2016. We're doing economic development and budgeting, planning and zoning and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, man, this is really cool. Well, then the military comes out in July of 2018 and says to me, hey, you can't do that anymore. I'm like, what? They're like, you can't be the mayor. I said, well, when do I need to resign? They're like, tonight. It was 10 o'clock on a Friday night. So I sent the notification that night and made it official on that following Monday. So here I was with 40 to 50 hours of my life back because being the mayor, as cool as it may sound, I was making $300 a month, working 40 hours a week.
Oof.
Yeah, it's not something that you do for pleasure. It's something that you do because you want to make a difference. And that's kind of what I did. So here I was now. I go back to the military full time, twiddling my thumbs most of the time. I'm working an overnight shift, 2:00 in the morning. I'm in this top secret building, watching a television that shouldn't have been on. And here I see this television personality pops up and he's like, hey, if you want to come out to this 2-hour thing at this hotel, just text this number. I didn't have a paper. You're not allowed to leave. So I just wrote it on my hand, walked out front, made the text message, took my son with me and said, don't let me buy anything. I grabbed him. I'm like, don't let me buy anything. After the first hour, he grabs me back and he goes, you're doing this, right? I'm like, thanks for all the support. Then the next thing I know, here it is, late September, I'm going through a 3-day course. And then a couple of weeks after that, I go through a 2-day course. And the Monday after a 2-day course, I pick up my first flip.
Wow.
Immediately got sent away for 2 months, came back home. January of 2019 is when I really got, up to my knees in it. And then, man, I never looked back. At the end of that first month, I had 3 deals going on. At the end of the first 2 years, we had 30 flips, 21 rental properties, and 10 wholesales. We're under contract on flip number 104. We've got 54 total doors. Started a property management company, and it's been insane.
Well, I love that story because mine is the exact same story. I didn't get a house 2 days later, though. It took me 6 months before I finally got a property under contract. But we joined what's called Fortune Builders, which I'm okay saying. You're okay saying Fortune Builders, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I owe everything that I know about real estate, well, getting started in real estate from Fortune Builders. It was an excellent, excellent company. And again, would never have done it any other way. It was the best experience. And I think you agree 1,000%. Yeah. And then how did you get to meet Jen Josie?
Oh, that's a funny thing. I got a phone call from a guy who said, hey, dude, would you be interested in working with this guy? And I'm like, who? He's like, this guy from, I'm allowed to say Tarek El Moussa, right?
Yes.
So, this homeschool program, this guy, Ryan Burke, Rye Guy, as I know him. And he recruited me and I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. Next thing I know, I'm brought in with this other awesome group of coaches. We have a love affair now going on 3 years, just about. And,
yep.
So it's been a ride for sure, but that's how you and I met. And then you and I would make jokes and laugh at each other during coaching meetings and all that stuff. It was awesome. Yes, we definitely connected.
Making fun of certain people on calls, which who that person will remain nameless. But anyway, it's always a good time with you. And I do appreciate your friendship. It's very valuable to me. So I am ready to dive into this project, and you have a special name for this past project, which is...
I do. It was flip number 103, also known as Voldemort, that which shall not be named. Harry Potter reference for those of who aren't grasping that. Who's the big bad in Harry Potter.
Excellent. All right. So how did you find Voldemort?
Okay. So we were cooking with gas. I mean, we had put basically lighter fluid on the open open fireplace, and we exploded. And we had like 30 deals in the first like 3 months of 2022. Here we go. We're pulling up into June. We're roughing, hitting around 50 deals total. My acquisitions team brought me this. I had just hired a new acquisition specialist about 3 flips ago, prior to this, and brought him in. My acquisitions manager was supposed to have trained him. My project manager was supposed to have verified the numbers on the deal, trust but verify. But I was so up to my eyeballs in deals and money, not incoming, but the constant flow, rotation, and velocity of money was so fast that I was more calculating everything. I hadn't replaced myself in the finance realm yet. So I was jumping through hoops, and I never verified the numbers.
Kind of like my badassery bestowment at the beginning here. So
that
was perfect for this project. So tell me about the actual property. How many beds and baths, what year it was built, along with anything special about the property, like a crazy driveway, a war zone. Tell me about the property.
This house was in Jobstown, New Jersey, which is near the military base. It is now Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst. Say that 3 times fast. I used to just call it McGuire Air Force Base or Fort Dix, depending on which one I was going to at the time. But hey, it is what it is, right? Everybody got combined. The after repair value on this was estimated to be about $335. Our estimated repair costs were expected to be in the $25,000 to $30,000 range. We expected that we were only going to have to replace the septic and well, that all we would need was county permits, that we were going to have to work within the variance that we were given, which we had already gone through. We already had the survey done. Grossly underestimated the cost of the septic tank, grossly underestimated the cost of the well and the filtration system. And then the acquisition specialist missed 40 wooden single pane windows.
Oh, gosh.
It was a $30,000 mistake.
Well, I've had to replace a well, and I can tell you that just ate up your original budget right there, was because we paid $30,000 for a well. So, but ours had to go about 100 feet down. So that was part of the issue there. But oh my goodness. So what was the original asking price when you got this property?
They wanted $235. We were willing to pay $185. I think I know we settled on $195. I'm sitting here looking at it. We settled at $195.
So you bought it for $195, and you're estimating $25 to $30 in repairs. And your estimated ARV at the time of purchase was $335.
Correct.
So how did you finance this deal?
Hard money, secondary lien with private money. We partnered on that, and then, we got 100% financed. So we were all in. I even had extra for materials. I had extra for, holding costs and all the permits and all that stuff. So that was all. We were good. We were supposed to be good. I'll start there, but this is where the nightmare began.
So for the listeners that maybe have never flipped a house before and they're just learning these things, we talk about hard money lenders, which is they're a financial institution, say like a bank. And then we use private money in second position. You've said something that I just wanted to make sure the listeners didn't just blow over, but you said you had a little extra to cover for materials and permits and things like that. So
that's correct.
You have a purchase price, and then you have your repair budget, which typically a hard money lender will finance 80 to 90% of the purchase price and then 100% of the repair budget. But here you said you had a little extra. So did you get that from your second lien position?
We did.
Okay.
Yeah, we were at 90% from the hard money lender. We were at just under 20% from the private money lender.
And some people think, that's dishonest. But no, you are paying them interest on the money they lend you. So the more they lend, the more they make. So
That's
I just
correct.
wanted to make that a very important point here because, some people think, well, how do you pay for the inspection and stuff like that? Those things do come out of pocket in the beginning, but then it can be replenished. So thank you for letting me take a little sidebar there.
Not a problem. And everybody was made whole on this deal, by the way. I'm just going to preface all of the mess that we're about to talk about right now by saying that the private money lender was paid back, the hard money lender was paid back, well, I will say relatively all of the subs were paid. There was one who was not paid that we will talk about.
All right. So what was your projected timeline?
6 months.
Okay.
And a year and a half later, we were wrong.
6 months to a year and a half. Hey, I laugh because I am there right now with a project. So this market's killing me right now. But let's get into the surprises. So you get it under contract, you close, and you hit the ground running. So what were some of the surprises during the renovation of this project?
Project manager hired a general contractor who was not licensed, not insured, even though the 6 critical documents were supposed to have been filled out. They were not. 4 months later, work hadn't started. The permits that we had pulled from the county and the engineering and the survey and all that stuff that we had done, and the septic and the well contractors were all on board and ready to roll, but we didn't have a qualified plumber that could tie into the interior of the house. And then the county did what the county always does, and they drug their feet.
Got to love that. And have you been in multiple counties where you've done flips? You've been in different states.
Oh, yeah. We've done flips in New Jersey, which is where I am, and then I've got a couple in PA, and we're doing a BRRRR. So just a caveat: when I say I've done 104 flips, every flip or every BRRRR is a flip in my mind, but not every flip is a BRRRR. I'm primarily geared towards rental properties. So when I tell you I've actually done flips, the majority of what I've done are actually renovations on rental properties, and then we held them.
And then you hold on to them. But this one, sadly, you did not. So
Yeah.
But me bringing up that you are in different states and areas is that permits are different from every different location, county, city. I mean, you could be in one county and then there will still be a city regulation of some sort that you need to do. And so getting someone who knows the whole permitting process specific to that area is super, super important. So
we just bought a rental property in Pensacola, New Jersey, and I've never had someone request a building permit get pulled for demo. I walked up there and I'm like, all we did was take out the windows in the screened-in porch, and they're telling me that there's a stop work order. I'm like, stop work? Like, for what? We didn't do anything. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Lesson learned here in that specific area of permitting. All right. So let's get into contractors. Were all your contractors angels and did everything as they said?
No, in fact, one of them cost me over $10,000 by tying into the septic. So we had an abandoned cesspool, which is now illegal in the state, and in most places cesspools are illegal. So we had to abandon the cesspool, have it removed. Then we had to go to the county and apply for a variance because we had a small backyard. We had to take septic and we had to move it over to one side of the house from where the cesspool was, then take the well and move that over to the other side. I felt like the scarecrow. They took my legs, they put them over there. They took my arms, they threw them over there. I don't know if you recognize that reference, but I felt like I was being torn apart by the flying monkeys, for crying out loud, when we were going through this process. So what he did was he tied in the sewer line into the abandoned cesspool, which caused a backup, which literally threw a bunch of poo into the basement of the house after we sold the house.
Oh my goodness. Ugh.
Yeah. And yeah.
I was surprised to hear that you had septics and wells in New Jersey. Is that common or okay?
Yeah. It's common. There are a lot of rural areas in New Jersey. You wouldn't recognize it it's called the Garden State for a reason. There are a lot of farmland.
Well, good to know. I just know, from the Jersey Shore. That's all I got. I know that's horrible. So any other surprises during the renovation? I mean, why did it take a year and a half?
Fired a project manager, fired a general contractor, fired a bunch of subs, had somebody put in a water heater without pulling the appropriate permits. Then here's the best. The township decided to fire. Now, keeping in mind, I did attempt to pull permits and was told by the construction office in the township, you don't need a permit for that. You don't need a permit for this. The only thing you need is covered by the county permits for the well and septic. Once you do that, you tie in and we're good. Cool, no problem. The township fired their entire construction company and brought in a consultant who worked 2 hours twice per week.
Oh my God.
Right. So trying to get, and then they came out for inspection and failed us on the finals for not pulling permits for what I was told I didn't have to have permits for. Oh, and by the way, I went in there with the emails showing that I was specifically told that I didn't need them. And he said, no, you got to pull them anyway.
Oh my goodness. All right. So we're
$2,500 in fines later. And by the way, because it was only 2 hours per day, twice a week, it took me almost 4 months to get those permits pulled and closed because the construction office and you got to love this stuff. So the permits are only written once a month. So if you go in and you try to pull the permits and you miss that meeting, then you're already a month behind and they don't go to process until the following month. Then you go and you try to get the permits closed out. Well, if you miss that meeting, now you're in month number 4, which is exactly what happened. So we showed up late for 1, they pulled them for 2. We got in for 3, but we missed it. So we had to wait till 4.
Or if you miss something silly that they need for the permit, then you get bumped out again and then get sent to the back of the list. Yes.
And that happened. Yep. And they failed us on, they tied in a new breaker, which I wasn't aware of. So they failed us on the electrical.
It's crazy, crazy, crazy.
4 more months.
So now we have gotten to the end of the 18 months and you're getting ready to list it. So your original ARV was 335. Do you remember what did you end up listing it for?
We listed it for 340.
Okay.
I'm sorry. We did list it for 335. We got a $10,000 over offer. We actually got a 360. We got a $360,000 offer, but they needed an assist. So we had to provide them with a $10,000 assist. So we actually got 350 for the property.
And how long was it on the market?
Negative. I put it on the market for coming soon, which is 21 days out. We were on the market for we were not on the market. But I got a phone call from an agent saying, what would it take to get this off the market now before you go to the market? And I said, 10,000 over asking. And, and she came in with 360.
I love that. Very, very cool. So while you are under contract, were there any inspection items that came up?
Yeah. I mean, there's simple stuff. Like we had there was a low voltage wire in the kitchen that we didn't see, but it was behind something and the inspector caught it. So good for him. But it was a wire that literally went nowhere, that came from nowhere. It was from so this house was huge. It was 5,000 square feet.
Ooh.
And it used to have a servant's quarters in it. And then someone turned they turned it into a triplex, knowing if I'd have known then what I know now, I'd have kept it, turned it back into a triplex, kept that second floor kitchen, put a third floor kitchen in, and I would have had a triplex, which would have been awesome. And it probably would have cost me less, and I would have got my money back in the long run. But yeah, that really wasn't too much more than that. Really, I mean, by the time we got done, it was a decent job.
All right. So now we are going to go through final numbers here. You listed it for 335. You got it under contract for 360, little assistance on the back end.
Yep.
And what your estimated repairs when you first purchased it was between $25,000 and $30,000. What was your actual repair numbers?
$95,800.
Oh, 95,000. Goodness. All right. And what was the interest you were paying on this? Do you remember that?
Yeah, we were paying, let me see here. Hang on 1 second here. Because it was horrible. I believe 10.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I was paying 10 and 10.
And then you have your commissions and closing costs. And what was your total profit?
I'm smiling. Again, I lost 6.81% and $23,000.
Okay. So how did you, because I remember at the beginning you said you made everybody complete, everybody whole. So how did you do that if you lost $23,000?
I sold one of my personal rental properties.
Got it. So looking back on this project, Budman, what were your main takeaways from this?
Don't hire a rookie. No, honestly, it was, so I'm in my third iteration of real estate investment. The first iteration, I didn't scale fast enough. And after 2 years, basically burned out. The second iteration, I scaled too quickly, overwhelmed myself trying to keep up with all of the people, didn't have a good integrator. So I scaled too quickly. This time I've shut down. I basically took my organizational chart and I went, everybody from here over, you're fired. I mean, no kidding. Like one day it was just like, yeah, you're all gone. Just we're done. And now I'm taking it nice and easy. I've got 4 virtual assistants. I've got 7 people that are transactional within my organization. I don't pay, like with the project manager, there was a percentage of the profits for each flip that we were getting, plus he was getting a salary. The acquisition specialists were all transactional. The acquisitions manager got an hourly rate plus a percentage. And that's, not horrible, but unless your people are actually doing what they're supposed to do, it's not cost effective.
True. And by losing $23,000, did you leave real estate?
Not at all. No, I bought more stuff. Are you kidding?
Exactly. So lesson learned here. But having completed this project, what do you do differently now with all future projects because of all the lessons you learned from this project?
Yeah, I take my time.
Good.
When it comes down to it, we look at each deal as its own individual unit and just go, okay, what can we do with this and not get killed? All right, great. Now, what do we need to bring to the table to make sure this works well? And then I've got trusted contractors, and now I am literally going out and verifying with a walkthrough because it's no longer 3 people deep from me to them. There is no acquisition specialist. There's no acquisitions manager. There is me and a general contractor walking these deals now. So it makes it a heck of a lot easier.
Well, I think it's really important to also reiterate that you talked about the contractor, the general contractor that was originally hired who was not licensed or insured. Mm-hmm. So even though they signed the form stating they were, it is super, super important to make sure that we follow. Oh, you never got the form. Oh,
no, that's what took 3 months.
Wow. So you say now.
And it was the project manager's 21-year-old daughter, and she was working on 2 of my jobs.
Oh my goodness. That's just crazy.
Yeah, he was trying to double dip.
That's awful. Yeah. All right. Well, moving on here, because thank you for sharing that. And you always teach us great lessons, and I love having you on the podcast. And you mentioned that you are slowing down, which I happen to disagree with, because even though you're slowing down on the real estate side, you are putting a focus in your life to giving back to veterans, giving back to people who are just wanting to get involved in real estate. So where is your focus now with what's going on with your coaching business?
Yeah, so we have started Enlisted to Entrepreneur. which is an overall mentorship program, which is primarily rental property focused. So we have the Rental Property Academy, which is a series of videos that is available. We have the Rental Property Boot Camp, which is a Thursday night webinar that we hold every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And then you and I are doing the REI Roundtable, which again, the military, the King Arthur's table, right? Everyone gets an equal say at the table. So that's why that's in there. It's the name of that group. And then of course, if you are non-military, you are welcome. Just know that we do provide military discounts, first responder discounts, and medical personnel also get a discount. And it is substantially cheaper than other mentorships because I'm not trying to break the bank here. I'm just trying to keep the lights on.
Very nice. And let's back up a little bit and talk about REI Roundtable because yes. I gotta say, I'm a little selfish here because this group, you and I run it, and I think of it more as an accountability type group where everyone's being held accountable for the goals that they set. There is no screwing around. We want to make sure and push each other. At the very beginning of the year, we had to announce our bags, our big, hairy, audacious goals. And I had this on my vision board for 3 years, but never said it out loud to people. And I was like, fine, I want to write a book. And I have to say, even though you and I are running the group, being part of it just pushed me out of my comfort zone. It's just such a great group of people. We meet every Tuesday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And it pushed me. And my big, hairy, audacious goal was to write a book by the end of the year. There it is. He's holding up his...
I'm on chapter 6 on Audible.
Very nice. And I did it. I ended up within like 3 or 4 months, I wrote the book, published it. It's on, for sale at Amazon. This is not promoting me. It's just promoting the fact that it's such a great group of people and it's hard to find that in this industry. So if you're listening and that's something where you need a little extra kick in the ass, we meet Tuesdays at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And it's a great, great supportive group of people and we will help you to push through your goals. So how do people find you to sign up for, say, some of your coaching programs?
Yeah. BudEvans.com is the best way. Go ahead on there and you can book a call with me. It's not a sales call. I don't do that. If you're interested in joining anything or you want just some basic advice, just give me a call. I talk to everybody. Get yourself on my calendar for either 15-minute introduction call or a 30-minute strategy call. If you're just, hey, bud, how you doing? I'm so-and-so and I'm investing in this area. That's 15 minutes. But if it's like, hey, bud, listen, I'm having this problem with this deal. Cool. I'll give you 30 minutes of my time for free.
And what I also like is you don't put up with the whiners, shall we say. No. You want people in your group to take action, and no one can guarantee, you joined Fortune Builders and had a deal 2 days later. It took me 6 months. So people are on different levels, but you want action takers, which I think is huge. And you definitely find them and you got a great group growing. So,
and have a thick skin. Yeah.
That is true.
We had one student who honestly just wasn't pulling it. I was like, sorry, bro, I'm not your coach. Find a new coach. That's it. Get out. Have a nice life. I don't have time for that. And you know what? I don't want your money if you're coming in here thinking it's a magic pill. It's not. You actually have to put in the work. You have to put in the reps. And if you're not putting in the reps, then I'm going to call you out on it.
Huge. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Mean what you say, but don't say it mean, Jen.
Very, very true. So we are going to move to the second part of the podcast here, which is what makes Bud a badass, which truly you are. And I use the acronym BADASS, and the first letter is B for book. What is a book that's made a huge difference in your life?
I'm reading yours now, to be honest. So, I mean, that's awesome. I'm going to use it as a textbook for my course. So if you want a free copy of Jen Josie's book, join the mentorship program.
Yay. I can hook you up with a discount.
Right. Jen, there are so many great books. I just finished reading The Millionaire Next Door again. 4-hour work. I mean, goodness. I will tell you extreme ownership. And then anything by Gino Wickman.
Yes.
I personally prefer Get a Grip, which is like a story on how the EOS model, entrepreneurial operating system, actually works. And it's like literally a person needed help and then how they walk through that whole process. But any one of those books is I run my companies that way.
That's interesting because most people who admire Gino Wickman go straight to Traction. And so that's good that, to give a shout out to that other book. All right. The first A in Badass is for advice. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
And I'm gonna give her credit, Laura Fine. When I got that first flip, she was my coach at the time and flat out told me, all right, great, don't stop.
Don't stop. That is
because people
excellent.
get that soda straw focus when they get that first deal. And it's like, okay, now I just got to concentrate on the deal. And she said, great, don't stop. There's always a deal right behind it. So I went up with 2 that same month.
And, let's take a minute on this because a lot of people, when they do get that first deal, they stop their marketing, they stop everything and just focus on that deal. So don't stop, I think, is excellent advice. And I always say ABM, always be marketing, whether it's, through mailers or cold calls or et cetera, because you got to keep everything coming into your pipeline. I love that. All right. The D in Badass is for drive. What drives Bud Evans to be successful?
Vacations, trips. It's funny. Real estate's given me a lot of opportunities, none greater than me walking in the front door one day and saying to Stephanie, hey, I need you to take a few weeks off. And she's like, what's a few weeks? I'm like, October. I booked a trip and we went to Greece for, basically for 27 days.
Wow.
Yeah. Right. And now she's got the hair salon. So we're kind of handcuffed, which makes it a little bit more difficult, but that's okay because yesterday I decided to get up and go out and do a 6-mile walk because I've been afforded the opportunity to retire. So here I am. And I was able to walk away from the military at 51 years old when I was expecting to be there till I was 60, putting on major and sitting there for 3 years, knowing that Lieutenant Colonel was right up the pipeline for me and knowing that I was eventually going to put it on one way or the other. I didn't care. I didn't want to do it anymore. I couldn't see myself in that position anymore, knowing that I was meant for bigger things. So, see you later. But the overall why is I just wanted to spend more time at home.
Good. Very good. And a year from now in 2025, June 18th, you and I are going to, and Stephanie and Vance, our partners, our spouses, we are going to Iceland with several other real estate investors. It's a trip that is organized through RAIN. So listeners, if you want to join Bud and I on a trip, there's no speakers, there's none of that. It's literally 100% networking and seeing cool shit and geysers and swimming in the Blue Lagoon and doing all that fun stuff.
Blonde, muscular women who do CrossFit.
Yeah, I'm totally looking forward to seeing that. But we are going to have a great time there. If you want to join us, go to rainmastermind.com/resources and scroll down to Iceland. And we do have spots still available. So check it out, June of 2025. All right, moving on. The second A in Badass is for aspiration. I'm a big goal setter. So what is a goal you are currently working on?
Well, I just kind of screwed myself out of it. So I was a couple of things. I want an RV. My son said to me, right. So I'm sitting here and I'm going, how can I get an RV without breaking my bank? So I'm looking at like a 2018 Tiffin or like a 2013 Newmar or Monaco, Class A diesel preferred pusher, 36 to 40 feet. And I'm like, okay, in order for me to do that, I need to get 2 Class C's and rent them out.
Interesting.
So I just had the conversation with Mark Abramovich on Sunday, the past, and he turned me on to somebody and they're like, oh yeah, dude, let's do it. And I'm like, hey man, listen, not to blow this sale, but I just want to let you know, like, why are you selling? And he's, I just got to ask. And he gave me the reason. And I'm like, you could just rent it out. And he's like, never thought about that. I'm like, yeah, try this app. because I teach too much, Jen.
Yeah.
I should have just kept my doggone mouth shut. And I'd have had my first C class, and I'd have been able to rent that thing out for.
Yes, good stuff. Well, I don't know all the stuff you're talking about, C-Class, diesel, feet, any of that stuff. I just know that my RV is going to be named Artie, the RV. That's all I know. That's all I got. And that I will be able to travel with my pets and see the country and come up to New Jersey to visit you. So moving on here, the first S in badass is for systems. What systems do you have in place to help you achieve success?
Well, right now we're using Go High Level, and I am Googleified everywhere. So everything is integrated. We were using all these other different things, Asana and all this other stuff, but it's just so much easier. And with things like Zapier, you can do so many things. Like if somebody sends me an email through Gmail, and then Ron just clicks star and makes it important, it pops up on my account, on my calendar through Zapier, and just creates a, hey, check this email, and drops the description in there. So all I got to do is just, track everything that's going on. It's pretty cool.
And a system that you and I recently discovered is FlipperForce. And you and I both have affiliates for this. So go to either budevans.com or go to rainmastermind.com. But this is such an amazing, amazing tool. I did have the founder creator on recently, so check that one out. But I just had to throw that one out there as well, because it's
a game changer.
Huge game changer. And I love it, love it, love it. All right. The final S in badass is for success. What does success mean to you?
I'm already there. Basically, I get to do what I want, when I want, where I want, with who I want, whenever, Look, it's Thursday afternoon, June 27th at 3:37. And after we're done with this call, I'm going to run over to Pennsauken Township, come home, cook myself a meal. I've got a couple of things booked tonight, a webinar and then another webinar, because I felt like it. But, yesterday I just picked up and I just felt like walking for 6 miles. So I just went out and walked. I feel like playing golf tomorrow afternoon. So I told my son, hey, what time are you getting done work? He said, I don't know, about 3:30, 4 o'clock. I said, cool. So I'm just going to pick up and go play golf.
Well, I love it. I love when you just picked up one day and drove down to Raleigh, and just so that we could hang out and have dinner. I do remember that.
6-hour drive.
6-hour drive for dinner. So it was very well worth it. But it is always a pleasure to have you on the show. And so I thank you for your expertise, your knowledge, and all the nuggets that you share with everyone. And one more time, how do the listeners find you and become part of your coaching program?
Yeah, just check out budevans.com. You can find me on Instagram at Bud Evans, or on Facebook, Bud Evans.
Wonderful.
And then check out the YouTube channel. It's Bud Evans Real Estate Investing.
And if you're interested in joining RAIN, becoming a RAIN member, Bud is one of our coaches, and you can get one-on-one coaching calls with him. It's fabulous. We are here to serve, and we don't do it for the money. We do it because we love it. And Bud, you're the best. I appreciate you so much.
You're the best.
You're the best. And that is all. Thank you for listening. We will catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.